I hate searching for free video editors online because the ones that you find inevitably aren't free. So I've done a little bit of legwork for you. I've found some genuinely free video editors that you can use. All of the video editors in this video do have paid tiers, but I have a couple of rules when I selected them. The first rule is that you can actually edit an entire YouTube video from beginning to end. The second rule is that they're all available on PC and that you can download them as an app. Some are in browser, which is cool, but sometimes you like to run them on your system. All the links to each of the software are in the description if you want to go check it out. Let me give you some of the pros and cons of all of them, and hopefully you find one that's for you. The first one is Canva. Canva is a very interesting app because it's not traditionally what you'd probably think of as a video editor. They have included video editing tools which are really robust. So let's start with the good stuff. If you have never edited video before, Canva is a really intuitive, easy way to edit video. You can run it in browser, or you can download it as an app for your machine, or you can get an app on Android or iOS because it's available there as well. This is cool because there is, on the free tier, 5 gigs of online storage, so your projects are available to you across the platform, so you can pick it up on your phone or continue on your desktop. There's a great audio library that's available to you as well. It's one of those things that often are missing from video editors. You want to add music to the footage that you filmed and you can't find any. And the fact that there is an audio library, even a couple of songs on the free tier, just means that you can actually get going and started with your video. There's also the inclusion of multiple audio layers. This is actually quite hard to find, but sometimes you want to layer different kinds of songs or cross-fade some songs or have a voiceover here and have your camera audio here. You can do that with Canva. That was something that I was genuinely surprised about. The editing works really intuitively because Canva does a lot of other things, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. It works a lot like maybe a slideshow presentation. You create blocks where you can dump your footage, and that can either be images or it can be video footage that you've recorded. It can be stock video that they have. They've got a whole exciting library of stock footage, which I think is a huge benefit. And you line them up in these blocks. In between, there's a plus sign, which is a transition button. You can click that and you can transition really intuitively, change the duration of that transition. It's great if you've never used any traditional video editing software that requires some understanding of how linear editing works. Another thing that I've discovered is that Canva Pro, the one that you pay for, is free if you are learning in the classroom or if you are a nonprofit organization, and there are tools on the website or links on the website that will help you get that started if you fulfill any of those categories. I said I was going to touch back on this, and the fact that Canva is more than just a video editor makes it really valuable, especially if you're going to go to a pro tier. You are able to create some really exciting social media posts, Facebook posts. There's templates, design templates for every single kind of social media that you can imagine, Instagram Reels, all of it. And you can do that all within Canva itself, which is great. It's not just about editing video for YouTube. It's also got the capacity to create those thumbnails if you want to. So overall, I think it's one of the most versatile pieces of software that is on this list, especially if you want to check as many boxes as possible and you are somebody that has, relies on a lot of different disciplines with your software, like, designing Instagram posts or thumbnails for your YouTube video that you are editing. It's really nice to have. So honestly, I think it's worth the price. It's one of the least expensive pieces of software in this category. But there are some cons, so let's get into those. The biggest con is that even though it's well priced, the best stuff that they've got is kept behind the paywall, which is extremely frustrating, especially because you're so close to getting some amazing stuff. All the stock images and the assets that are the best templates that you want to add, you've got to pay for the best stuff. If you are a natural designer and you trust your own design skills and you don't necessarily need those templates, or you're recording your own music, or you've got another music library somewhere else, or if you are recording your own footage and you don't need any stock footage, maybe you can get away with a free tier. But the best assets are only available through the pro tier. The other thing is that the free tier can only export at 1080p, which for some people might not be a problem, but because Canva is more focused on social media, having a 4K export or anything higher is not necessarily their primary focus. And I get it, I understand. That said, even if you get onto the pro tier and are able to, every time I say pro tier, I think of the flower. But when you get onto the Pro tier, right, like you can have the ability to resize your video and to change it to 4K, but I found that it takes a very long time to export, which is a little annoying, even for a short clip, and then it will download from your browser or from the app because it's doing that natively in the cloud, which is a little bit frustrating and annoying. But again, this is for people that are mostly doing social media posts, or if you're just learning how to edit. Following suit with the resolution problem, most of the assets are only in 1080p that I've discovered. So if you need some really cool 4K footage for your posts or your videos, I also had this problem because it's mostly in browser. I struggle to play back some of my videos. I haven't tried playing that project back on my phone, but I assume that would be better. But because it's got cloud storage and it's in your browser, you can just, refresh the browser page and then it should be back to normal. As I said earlier, custom resolutions and aspect ratios are kept behind the paywall, so that's a little bit annoying. Which also means that it's going to take a lot longer for you to recreate the same post for multiple platforms. One of the best parts about having that custom aspect ratio size thing on the top left is that if you click on it, you can create a copy of your project and then resize that copy. So you can take a YouTube video that you're editing, resize it for TikTok or Instagram and make an IGTV. It's not called IGTV anymore, or Instagram, a cut of that as a separate project. Another con for some people is that because it uses that cloud saving, it's either 5 gigs or 100 gigs if you're on the paid tier, you've got to be online in order to use Canva, no matter if you've got the app locally or if you're in your browser source, which can be a little bit annoying, but trust me, it can save it can save your ass many, many times if it's just cloud saving what you're doing. But for some people, if you're on the road and you need to edit footage like drone footage and you've got no internet connection, this can get really annoying. And lastly, and this is just a personal gripe for myself, is that there's no keyframing. Keyframing, for those of you who don't know, is the ability to like zoom in and out of shots like on the fly. So you start a piece of footage here, and then we're gonna keyframe here. There's none of that. So who's it for? I think it's great for smaller creators, people that are brand new to editing, who don't necessarily know how a traditional video editor works. If you need to just slap out some videos really quickly. If you're a new YouTube creator, or if you're a social media manager and you need a huge variety of assets for the work that you do. Video is one part of many people's jobs. People are doing all sorts of posts if they're doing social media proposals. Canva is a very powerful piece of software from that perspective. That's who I think it's for, and that's where I think that the paid tier really shines. So just touching on the paid tier super quick, it's $12.99 a month or $120, $119, whatever, a year if you are doing that. So again, I think that's relatively inexpensive compared to stuff like the Adobe Creative Suite, and it can do a fair amount, a huge percentage of what you're probably looking for in the Creative Suite if you are a beginner content creator. And the fact that you can have this on Android and iOS means that you pay that one subscription fee, and then the version that you're running on your PC, the paid tier carries over to your phone, and you're able to then continue editing on your mobile device, which is a very powerful offering. The next app is Descript. Descript is probably one of the wildest approaches to video editing that I've seen in a very long time. It's an AI video editor that kind of works like a word processor. If you're uploading video, if you're uploading a podcast or a video of yourself like this, you can literally edit this video by trimming out the words, looking at the transcription of the video and just cutting it down naturally. It's got the ability to remove ums and ahs, like filler words, which is super helpful and will save a lot of time in editing. And also, just again, if you're not used to video editors, that is a great approach. You understand word processors, most people do, if you've ever used a computer and written something. So editing video like a word processor seems like a very compelling way of editing video. It's also got keyframe animation, which is, as I said, was something that was lacking from Canva. You can add titles and captions like text over your images really easily. Really powerful transitions between each of the clips that you have. And it's non-destructive, which means that when you edit something, you'll delete like a word like the ums and ahs or a sentence or whatever. It's not removing that part of the clip. That still exists. You can then access that again by pulling out the clip. You can include what they call shapes, which are just visual elements that you can add over your video. I like to call them motion graphics. It's got very powerful collaboration tools. So if you're editing a video in a team or with a friend, super easy just to sit down and edit like basically a Word document and the video will start editing itself. You can also add corrected voiceover. So because it's using machine learning and it's got a whole bank of your voice, the more you edit with your voice and the more the AI has got access to, the better it is at creating extra words. So like you can type out new sentences where it will use your voice and your intonation and add that as overlay or whatever. So you can cut to, I don't know, you talking about something or you forgot to mention something. You can add in a sentence or two and it will add your voice saying that. It's like deepfake, but for your voice, but for noble purposes. One of the use cases that I've used that I really enjoyed was it's able to also isolate and remove music from videos. So I've had to edit videos where it's a compilation of other people's YouTube stuff, their testimonial talks or whatever, and they've got their own music track behind it. I might want to cut what they're saying together and remove their music. Super easy to do. Then on the paid tier, you get these, you can batch export all the video files without the audio in it, or at least without the music in it, but with the voices of the people talking, which is wild because it's such a nifty tool depending on what you want to use. And again, these tools, because it's using this AI, this machine learning to manipulate audio as the primary focus to video, which is such a great like lateral approach to it. There's so many use cases that you might have that we haven't even thought of, or that Descript hasn't even thought of, or like that I don't know if I can add to this video, because you will know how you want to manipulate that audio, like removing the background or isolating a voice. The free version's got transcription for up to 3 hours. There's a bit of a limitation, but it can allow you to see how powerful this software is. And it's got unlimited free screen recording up to 720p. So if you're doing any kind of like presentation, or you need to record your what's on your screen for whatever reason, you can do that up to 720p. So some of the negatives: it's surprisingly resource intensive for a word processor that's editing video. That said, there is a free tier and you can try it and see how it works and if it works on your rig, but it's something that I thought would be a lot lighter. If you're familiar with traditional video editors, it can be a little bit of a steeper learning curve because you have to kind of think a little differently about how you're editing video. But that said, that's not a huge mountain to overcome, but it's something to take note of. One of my gripes is that with the free version, the really exciting features that really set Descript apart are very limited. Again, the best stuff is behind the paywall, and you get a taste of these really cool tools, but then you go like, oh man, I've got to get behind the paywall. And the paywall is a little bit more expensive than Canva, which is another negative. Although Descript is probably a more fully featured video editor and it's got a lot more use cases for you, you could probably really comfortably finish a really high quality YouTube video with it, especially with the keyframing and higher resolutions. It's just one of those like personal gripes that I have. The best version on all the paid tiers is about $30 a month or $24 a month if you get the annual subscription, if you can afford to do that. So yeah, it's like double the price of Canva. Who's it for? I guess it's for podcasters, YouTubers, beginning content creators that with video editors traditionally, and more serious editors like myself who want to use those powerful AI audio editing tools to see what you can do. It is rather scalable in terms of its function. And again, some of my favorite paid tier features are the fact that you can use overdub, which allows you to like create your own voice, type out things in your own voice, and then filler remover, just like unlimited filler remover. So all the ums and ahs in a video that you want to get rid of, it can do that for you automatically. Thirdly, we've got Clipchamp. Now, Clipchamp is an app that was bought by Microsoft because Microsoft don't have iMovie. Straight up, that's what's happening here. And you can get it from the Windows Store, and not a lot of people actually know about it because it's also got a strange name. Clipchamp is a silly name for a video editing app, not gonna lie. But it's kind of a sleeper because it's incredibly powerful for what it is. It's a fully fledged video editing app, really along the lines of iMovie. If you've ever edited video in iMovie, it's a very similar vibe. It's really easy and simple to understand and get into, just to understand a little bit. It's lightweight on your machine. And there are a lot of motion graphics and stuff that's built into it. So if you want to start off your video and you want to add like a subscribe thing at the end of your video and you haven't designed one, or if you want to add some motion graphics like straps or lower thirds, which is your name on the video footage, you can do that. And it's all built into Clipchamp, which is, I was not expecting that. And here's the kicker, you can edit for free up to 1080p footage, which I think is sufficient for most things. I think if you're a high-end YouTuber, you do want to step into the 4K, 8K realm. But if you are starting out and just learning, and also want to maybe you don't have enough internet to upload 4K, so that's another thing. And also if you want to use a lot of video that you're editing on TikTok or Instagram, it's stupid to film in 4K, in my mind. I think just stick to 1080p. And the fact that you can do unlimited editing in 1080p with Clipchamp for free, wild. Some of the cons is that it's Windows only. Sorry, Mac users, you've got iMovie, so move along now. And the best stuff is, again, behind a paywall. But again, I don't think that stuff is necessary. It's nice to have stuff. So it's got a brand building kit. If you have a YouTube channel and you want to have really nice motion graphics that are specific to your brand, your own fonts, your own color schemes, and so on, you can do that. It's very similar to Canva's brand building kit, and you can have that inside your video editor ready to go. And then all the stock footage and all the assets that you get, inside the app, the best stuff, all the best motion graphics for your stream, the best looking subscribes and straps and intros, they're behind that paywall. The best package, I think, as a content creator is the $9 a month one. And I think that's rather affordable for a fully fledged video editor that has got unlimited access to stock, and that's stock video and stock audio as well. I think that's a really, really compelling deal. So, who's it for? I think it's predominantly for content creators, people that are doing super light editing, uploading YouTube videos. Maybe you just want to slap together some videos every now and again on your local machine. If you've got like presentations, maybe you're not constantly creating content all the time. It's a great piece of software for that. And just Windows users in general. I think if you are a Windows user, you need to download. This isn't bloatware. And I wish that they had just installed it mandatorily like Paint, because it's more powerful and more important than Paint in my mind. Just being able to quickly cut and snip a couple of videos together really easily. One last huge addition is that it allows you to edit video from your phone. So how it works is you've filmed a bunch of footage on your phone, you go to Clipchamp, go to your timeline, you click on add new footage, and from phone, and then a QR code will pop up. You use your phone to scan that QR code, and it'll take you to a web page, and then it'll give Clipchamp access to your gallery. And then you can literally select the videos that you want to edit, and then it will upload and re-download them to your machine seamlessly, which is super handy if you're shooting on your phone and are just needing to dump and edit video footage on your PC as fast as possible. And lastly, and I'm going to brush over it rather quickly, is Vinci Resolve 17. The reason I'm going to go over this super quick is that you've probably seen 1,000 videos on this one, but it really is one of the most, if not the most powerful video editor for free on the market for Mac and PC. It's completely fully fledged. The hook, if you're wondering what the hook is that all the really extremely pro, like what filmmakers would use, like features are hidden behind a paywall where you have to buy that particular copy. The reason is that they want as many people to get used to using DaVinci and go onto that off ramp, just like ramp up with that skill set until the point where you're working in the industry and you are using DaVinci exclusively and you want to buy that. That's the hook. As far as I'm concerned, that's quite a soft hook, and it's the one that I would prefer, and it allows you to edit video with one of the most powerful video editors for absolutely free. DaVinci is obviously famous for its incredible grading tools, so grading to change the color, and then you can export up to 4K 60 of the free tier, which is wild. The paid tier's got 32K 120p. I don't know who's editing 32K. But yes, for YouTubers, this is a great option. Some of the biggest cons that I can think of is that if you're new to content creation and have never touched a video editor before and are really averse to learning new things, sort yourself out. You need to learn stuff. That's how this industry works. But secondly, this is going to be a little bit daunting. It is a professional grade linear editor that there's a timeline at the bottom. You've got to understand how video editing works. I do recommend putting in the graft to learn how video editors work so that you are more proficient as you go up. And that'll just scale your ability to create video in the long term. You can use Canva to do a lot of these things, or Descript, but there is a ceiling for most of these apps where when you want to do anything like cinematic or really high end, you're not going to be able to do it. So you need to understand where your limitations are and what you're prepared to put in. Behind that paywall, again, some of the cons is these really very exciting but really high-end features like that, exporting at 32K. Who's doing that? They've got really powerful plugins and grading tools that are hidden behind that paywall as well. But again, I think most entry-level content creators aren't necessarily delving into that stuff, and that really isn't an option for them. It's even got like stereoscopic editing. Who's doing that unless you're like James Cameron? So that's it. All these links down below in the description. You can find them for yourself. Tell me which you think is the most exciting free-to-use video editor that you've discovered from this video, or one that you're using right now that I have not included. I might follow up with another video if you add like a bunch of really exciting stuff on there. I really want to hear about it. And if you want to hear anything more about these, if you want me to go a little bit deeper into Canva or into Descript, I'm happy to do that. You just have to ask. All right, that's a wrap. I'll see you in another video. Cheers.